Okay, let's call the meeting to order. It is, what do you say, 12:03 p.m. Roll call of members. Here, you want to do that?
Hannaford?
Yes.
McMurphy?
Yes.
Decker?
Yes.
Leeper?
Yes.
Stats?
Yes.
Bradford?
Yes.
Eaton?
Here. Okay. Approval of the minutes of the March 28th, 2023 meeting. I believe you were emailed those, and there's been, I think there was copies on the table as well.
I don't know, because I wasn't here, so I can't motion.
It looks all right.
That's okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay. Second. Okay, it's moved and seconded that we approve those. All, are you on,
Yeah.
you can do a roll call, it's fine.
Hannaford?
Yes.
McMurphy?
Yes.
Decker?
Yes.
Leeper?
Yes.
Stats?
Yes.
Bradford?
Yes.
Eaton?
Yes. Approval of the financials. I believe those are attached. Jeremy, is there anything specific we need to know about those?
One thing that I'll just point out that it may be a little confusing. There's a $3,000 difference. It is actually, that $3,000 went towards the previous fiscal year from Community Bank, but they didn't give that $3,000 until after the August 31st. So it shows itself on our fiscal year, but it's from the previous. That's why there's a $3,000 difference. Everything else is in order. And it will remain that way, for the rest of this time.
Any questions or discussion about the financials?
Is all the, for FY '23 in the red on the collection, the fundraising part of it? Is that what's being collected already, or that's what's kind of been?
That's what's collected.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Have we got the, Millida?
Yes.
Oh, there it is. I see it. Okay.
The only thing that is outstanding is the, it was in August when submitted, the county commissioner's portion that comes usually in August. Everything else, I believe, for the most part, is everybody submitted.
The ones that are still, of course, I see a couple of them, I understand why they haven't done it, but reaching back out to the ones that have not.
Right. Really, there's only one, and I mean, it's something just since he's in the room.
I know, I was about to.
That's
Need a reminder or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and that's your own discretion too. It's so if you do so, but
Actually, I was looking at one of the banks, and I was kind of surprised I didn't.
yeah, the
Bank Central didn't.
yeah, the one Bank Central the previous year was they had collected before I had come on the 1,750. They had committed 7,000. We didn't think we'd get anything from them coming this time around, but they decided to commit what they did last year.
I had a question on another one. Where was it? Oh, the Rail Park Pledge.
That one is a monthly
Oh,
continuation.
gotcha. Okay. I figured, but I wasn't going to make sure.
So it'll be the same.
It will
Okay.
hit
Okay.
the 6,000.
Very good.
Some we had increases on. Cargill, you'll see, jumped considerably. I think was it ONG had not in the years past,
Right.
they this year decided to. Another one that I will be hitting because I believe they, when talking to their operations person, they said they would like to contribute, but I won't do it till the next fiscal year, and that's America's Oasis with,
Oh, yeah.
but I didn't want to go ahead and say, hey, how about now? And then a month later say, hey, how about now again? So we'll just start them in the fiscal.
Have we ever asked OMPA, or has that ever been a, Winoka's an OMPA city? Have we ever approached them about it?
Probably not.
Okay,
If you have contact,
I
that might be
do.
helpful.
I'll send that to you.
Municipal Power Authority.
OMPA? Is that what you said?
Yes, Oklahoma Municipal Power Authority.
Okay.
That's, yeah, that probably needs to happen. I actually see someone here that probably need to be taken off after this fiscal year's over.
Yeah.
That's at least one for,
Yeah.
We had them on as a reminder the previous year who had, and then obviously if not, then we'll remove moving forward. Also, Edward Jones themselves have invested.
County commissioners gonna do the same? Or do we know?
That
Oh,
they
right.
stated
The 35?
that I believe it, I forgot how many years that they were going to
I
do
was gonna
it.
say, that's the difference of kind of where it's been, so.
Right.
Right.
I'll make a motion to approve the financials.
Okay.
Second.
So we probably moved and seconded that we approve the financials. Jeremy, would you do a roll call vote, please?
Hannaford,
Yes.
McMurphy, Decker,
Yes.
Leeper,
Yes.
Stats,
Yes.
Bradford,
Yes.
Eaton.
Yes. Update discussion, action regarding goals, objectives, and staff activities. So, Jeremy, I'm gonna let you look at these. Looks like there's,
Yeah, most
Four
of
of
these
these.
are just an update or discussion opportunities. The website development, I've been in meetings now with OC Digital, and kind of got an idea of the first steps of what we're doing. Building and Sites is going to be kind of what we hope to revamp it. Recently, I've been doing some RFIs. City of Alva had requested for some of the sites that they had, Department of Commerce had submitted through their portal possible projects. We saw what they were asking for, and that's the stuff we would like to put on our website, so it's just always there. We also want to do, one thing that I would like to do is a resource library creation, so things that will help for business retention or community. For example, a SWOT analysis, that it'll be there if somebody can pull it. As we continue to generate items and resources, business plan, how to do one, there'll be those are some of the things that we're tackling right now, the business retention part. Demographics, of course, having all that out there. So if a business was to come along, there's even a lot of material that I was able to get that I can go ahead and convert it into our own version, but it could be anything from how to interview somebody for a job, all the way to in a strategic planning session. The one thing in talking to, Candy is the name of our contact with OC Digital, and I had stated that we've been in contact with the Lieutenant Governor to do that whiteboard session. I think you were there for that, which is like a strategic planning session. Ryan is who I've been contacting with Lieutenant Governor, and it's something they have us on their plan of list to do. looking more at a fall type situation. And this is just, when they say, we're looking at August, September, I'm expecting October, November, just because of how that works. But they also, there's some things we had talked about that I used to do in strategic plannings, and they want to kind of incorporate some of that. So in talking to Candy, she thought, wouldn't it be great to have that material already available? So the surveys, the things that is normally done in the strategic planning will be in the resource library, hopefully before we even get to that whiteboard situation. So that's what we're going to be working on. And then we have other, stages to have the website itself have more, that quality of life and those parts. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Do these in phases. So I thought just that's an update of where we're at on that. The turkey hunt, I have Kay here, who definitely was, as I like to say, the leader on our great turkey hunt, and I heard a lot of great success with it. So a lot of people really were happy with the Winoka visit. That went over pretty well, and I think some contacts were made with that, which is great. And the guests themselves, every single one of them had responded to me that it was a great event for them, so they enjoyed it. Anybody have any questions in regards to any of these things? No. The donor appreciation dinner, that is coming up in October. We did establish a date last time, I believe in the minutes. I was relying on the minutes for that one.
October 24th.
Okay, October 24th. Guest is Kenneth Korn. He confirmed that he would be a guest. If by chance, because of him and his position, he's not able to make it, he will have a backup person that will be able to come to speak on his behalf. Of course, we want him to be the one to come and
October
speak.
21st,
24th.
4th.
Yes.
Women's building again.
That would be for us to discuss, but I would assume that's where it was the previous time. You and I kind of took that one, and I'm open for any suggestions of what you would like to see happen. If it's still an appreciation dinner, then that's fine. If you'd rather do more of a heavy hors d'oeuvres and a kind of, one thing I brought in the past was at Ponca City. I'd been to one of theirs, and they had a mixer that was kind of a presentation that was done, and of course you have your guest speaker, but instead of sitting down dinner-wise, you had the heavy hors d'oeuvres, and you had stations that people could go to and learn about certain things or certain projects and things like that. That's a possible option. We do have time, but I'm open to either or. That's just another possible way of doing something that's a little different. But if you do prefer the dinner way of doing it, I'm fine with that too. We can do that. So that's just something that I brought up that you can discuss if you'd like to.
I think either way would be fine with me.
I mean, the light hors d'oeuvres sounds good to me. Just give me a check.
I mean, if you think you can have enough stations to where you have enough, different presentations.
Yeah,
and
that
kind
would
of
be the
stuff.
thing.
Yeah. Well, the stations will be determined on what you all feel. I mean, we definitely could we could have the museums again, but we can also have projects. We can have things that might even go towards what was the strategic planning that the Lieutenant Governor had either done, or if it's afterwards, pre-do. We can have our own SWAT that we have people come to. People can maybe be assigned to stations. Some things could be what's going on, what we've been working at. We could have a whole university section for those who just don't know or never even bothered. It's with the heavy hors d'oeuvre situation. It gives more of that networking opportunity as opposed to somebody sitting down at a table and doing the dinner and not conversing with anybody else, unless it was for the first 10 minutes when they walked into the room. So, but again, that's we would need to come up with those ideas of what we would like to see as that. Or again, the dinner did work fine as well.
It went
So,
well last year.
Yeah.
Probably ought to, I mean, just my opinion, and maybe stick with that this year and then kind of maybe start thinking about the next one to get all that stuff done.
I'd kind of like to see maybe some projects that are in various stages of completion, like, you know, the swimming pool project won't be done this fall,
Mhm.
but it would be the next time, more than likely. America's Oasis probably won't be done in October, but would be the next time.
Yeah. And, you know, while things are in development too, or, you know, it's, a lot of people like to see that progress as well. So, you know, you can look at it either way, but if you would prefer the next year, I mean, as you mentioned, just right there, I mean, I'm thinking, well, America's Oasis, that'd be a great station in its own.
Yeah.
Not just, you know, pool projects. I mean, it could be Winoka and Alva, you know, what's going on. It could be, again, the museums, but also Technology Center and the universities. I think we would have a lot of stations for it, but pushing it to the next year is perfectly fine to see where we're at in developing, as well as, you know, we'll be in the process, so it won't be officially, I don't think, in effect, but Alva and hopefully Winoka will be Main Street programs, so that could be something to, it could be a little education that happens there. And the film-friendly certification is something that I have a meeting coming in July. They are actually coming here, so that's something I was going to bring up in the director's report, but I can go ahead and say that in July, I don't have the date yet of when it's going to be. I believe it's going to be the 22nd of July, but they would like to meet with anybody who's interested, any leaders, and just
Will that be?
kind- what was-
Where will that be?
So it will be somewhere in Alva will be the start of it, but I asked them if they would like for us to also go to Winoka. So I would like to do Alva and Winoka as the two places, because those are the two places I would like to have as film friendly. So that's where we're trying to.
Freedom, that's not an option? or-
Yeah, to do
Freedom is one that I've asked for, but we haven't had a great leadership response yet. And so Brett Smith and I have been working with that. So I think Freedom's going to be a little behind on some things, such as the Main Street program and such as the film friendly. But I hope to get them there because they just got new leadership in place, and it's kind of going in that direction. So, and also with Brett and Freedom, I get to visit with them once, if I'm lucky, twice a month. So it is a slower process, but working towards it.
Their museum's going to have some pretty cool stuff happening pretty quick.
That's great. And then, you know, there's things that are happening there. So there's that Hunter's Lodge that had just been there. And there's some people that Brett said that, you know, would be great to start talking to, but we tried to invite them to the turkey hunt. They weren't able to make it, so we hope to get a little bit more going with that. And then, of course, we also, another thing that will be brought up in the course of a year's time as a possible station at that donor appreciation dinner will be what's going to happen with AVARD and the ARPA and PrEP dollars that have taken place. And when I get to my director's report, I'll be able to talk a little bit more on that. So, any other questions for that part? The only other part that I have on there, and Jeremy may want to talk a little bit more on it, but that's just the memorandum of understanding agreement between this committee and Northwest Technology Center.
Do we need to formally vote on this?
You shouldn't. The only adjustments were, we had some insurance adjustments and things, but we're just a fiscal agent, so if you want to vote on that, we can. If you wanna
I didn't
approve
know
that
if that's what we
agreement.
did, I can't remember.
I don't know if we could if he's not on those.
Yeah, that's what I mean, I don't,
It's just something that gets done every time.
yeah.
Okay.
And it's on the agenda for possible action, if that's what you wanted to state it. You could.
Oh, yeah, it is supposed to do that.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to approve it, it wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
I move that we approve the Woods County Economic Development Committee and Northwest Technology Center Memorandum of Understanding for FY24.
Okay. Motion, is there a second?
Thanks.
Okay. Any discussion? Proceed to vote?
Hannaford,
Yes.
McMurphy,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Leeper,
Yes.
Stats,
Yes.
Bradford,
Yes.
Eaton.
Yes. Alright. Item number 6, WCIDA update, Jeremy.
Yeah, we had our meeting this morning. For those who didn't make it the previous time, Bob Baker is on the Woods County Industrial Development Authority, of those 5. Things that were discussed, there's Jana Walker is the one they decided on to be the auditor for the 22-23 fiscal year. And it was between her and it was between another Michael Green, I believe, who was suggested by the previous auditor, but that person lives out in Stillwell, and it was decided that having somebody close would make more sense. There is the trustee update that was done. Bylaws were reviewed and looked at to make it a more open opportunity. So rewriting that is in effect. The West Lakes building has a water meter that needs to be installed there.
Still haven't got it.
Yeah, that's something that's been in process due to the hard ground and now due to the wet ground has become an issue. Max Rose, though, I got a hold of him. I got a key made for him. It is in my box for whenever he's ready to do that. Randy's been working with them too and getting that. We're not worried about any situation with that. It's just time. Max is a very busy person too, so that's where we are. I believe that was it. Am I right, Randy?
Yeah.
Yeah. Only other thing was we talked about the updated the insurance value of the Winoka Incubator building.
Is there anybody in that one?
Do I?
Is there anyone in
No.
that?
No.
That one is available.
But ACO, the deal on that, ACO hired an independent deal to go through and everything that was insured through ACO, which is the Association of County Commission, they came through and reevaluated things and tried to get them up to, they hadn't been any updates or anything for quite some time, and they wanted to get the values more where they needed to be.
More suitable was premium.
Well, the stuff is actually pretty cheap, but I mean, you're in quite a pickle if you lose a tornado or something, or fire, and whether you got replacement. They gave us choices, whether it be full replacement or
just the girl,
yeah.
A crew, yeah, I got you.
Okay. Item 7, Director's Report.
As I often do, send you a monthly. One thing that even as discussed in the morning one, if you do want any more specifics on things, contact me directly. I should be able to give you more specifics, but in general, I give you what we have. So, for example, ARPA and PrEP funds, I had submitted, they were allocated originally for AVARD, then Department of Commerce come back and said, no, we want you all to submit applications. So I had worked on that and submitted 2 separate applications for the 2 funds, and had to create maps for them, show where you know, things are, and draw utility maps as well, topography and FEMA floodplain maps. I submitted all of that stuff for them. They had gotten back to me and said that it has been accepted. So AVARD does now officially have those funds. They're now just waiting for the process of how it is, OMES is writing the script of how funds are going to be released. Kay, I think you've been through this with Neighborhood Stabilization Program. You know how that
You're
process.
ready for your percentage that they'll take out of it.
Oh,
Yeah, they take out a percentage. There's no admin that's available for us to take out. So it is Department of Commerce that takes out the admin.
2%,
from this
isn't it?
fund. Yeah, I believe it's 2%, yeah. So really 5 million, you know, is 4
Is
point.
it going to be a reimbursable, or do you know yet?
So the way I have been told, it's going to be more of a submit the invoice and they pay.
Okay.
There is a couple of things. AVARD is gotten a possible acquisition situation that will be handled in a different way. Hopefully, OMES will allow that to be a smooth process instead of a funds transferred to a bank, then a week later, funds transferred out of the bank, because I was told that's an FDIC nightmare.
Yes, it
And
is.
so, hoping for a one-day wire transfer is what they're requested. But again, we're waiting for that. We're also waiting for them to submit some sort of contract that apparently, since I'm the point of contact for AVARD, I'm to sign off on, but we haven't gotten that as of yet either. But it's at least the exception, the acceptance was there, because we've gone, since I started, and they contacted me at the end of June and said, hey, can you collect all this data? We want to see, you know, if you may qualify for ARPA funds. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And then they said, you're awarded. I was like, wait a second. You may not be awarded yet. You're just allocated. Wait a second. Fill out an application.
We were told hopefully that we would get ours in August or September. So hopefully it's a little quicker process this time.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna have to spend this though. Yes, they're gonna take the 2% and then they're gonna keep it on interest for 5 to 6%.
Yeah.
And keep the interest off from it too until you use it.
But ARPA is solely for water and sewage. For anybody who didn't know, PREP is more state funds, and a lot more options are open for things that could be used, such as acquiring land, building buildings, road, I believe. So, you know, throughout the whole state, that's what that was open for. And this was geared towards industrial park development to get them more in a competition, them being Department of Commerce, and to attract more businesses to the state. That's what I have for that. As I said with the other things, website, moving forward on that, ARPA prep, moving on that, and we'll start doing the donor appreciation dinner and looking towards getting that, so we're just going smoothly. And then, of course, I do get a lot of business consultations, requests from people. Sometimes it's just, can you come see me? And it's an hour sitting there with them and kind of, you know, seeing, let's go in this direction. What's plan B? You know, and, you know, I'm happy to help you. And I don't hear from them. Others, it's like, you know, can you come tomorrow? Can you come the next day? And so, working with that. There is actually someone in Winoka that I'll talk to you about who has kind of a, I guess, their own, not an Airbnb, but just kind of making it their own little place for people to come to, and I'll tell you more about it. I can tell you, I know that, but and then just anytime somebody comes asking for data statistics, we'll give it to them.
How much visitation, Jeremy, are we getting on our website?
Not a lot, but we're not really pushing it right now. I want to develop right. The website before was just kind of more of your shell of what you need on a website. There wasn't a whole lot to go to there. Now that we're looking to have more, I mean, pardon the phrase, but meat and potatoes of it. We're building that meat and potatoes. So yeah, I'd like to see it, at least at the start, more for the retention part. Recruitment is it'll have its stuff there, but I think once we have AVARD in place and we have some other things, we can really push a lot more on that recruitment, because we'll have a lot more available. And then also now in contact a lot more now that there's a city manager with Alpha. There wasn't a lot of contact that was there beforehand because they just didn't have anybody in place. So, you know, can we have anything that's available site-wise or building there? Once I did this whole, it was called Alpha 3, that was the RFI submitted from Department of Commerce. And they were like, yeah, let's look into that. And so we went on ahead and we got a lot of information. And so I said to Stephen, I was like, well, you know, now that we've done it for these 2 properties, maybe we can do it for all of them, and then we can put it on the website. So I see that being another project that we hope to do, as well as anything that's available in Winoka, just to have it, that matrix, once you see it, it's a lot of good detailed information that people are looking for. And today's day and age, we don't know that they're looking, so if we can have it out there, then that's great. I don't want to push us having a website that doesn't have that yet, or else it just looks like, well, look at these people. We don't even need to look at them ever again. I don't want that. So I'd like to bring it to where we can really push that more information.
And that, what we were talking about yesterday, this matrix that you're using, the City of Alva's grant writer will be able to pull when she runs across something and they want certain data, she'll have that immediately. Some of the grant apps that come in, you might have a week's turnaround to get everything filled out. So hopefully, I think those kinds of resources will encourage applications that we haven't been able to do.
Who is that individual, Kay?
Stephanie Wydick. And she's done an outstanding
I
job.
was just curious on that. I know one of the things we pushed for our financial effort was to have more visitation, to become more visible, and I just didn't know how much,
I think,
how much bang for the buck we were getting right now, if we were getting any visitation, if the website was actually
it's very
paying for itself.
It's very minimal, but the reason why we got the person we got now, which we have till the end of August for her to kind of prove herself. So we got her in a contract which started May to August, see what development they have. Then if we decide to continue on, it'll be the more fiscal year that we do, which will be a lot more cost. But if we can build it up to where we have that a great value to where it's good to look at, then I would like to promote it to where we can say, come look at us. Because I think that resource library in its own could be something that another community will say, oh my gosh, have you seen that they have this? Because I look at all the economic development pages. Now you look at the Department of Commerce, they have a decent resource library, which we can borrow and use from and have it on ours. But if you look at other economic development pages, it's your generic, these are the buildings we have available. This is our quality of life. Here are some key points, status, and statistics. It'd be nice if we had all the data and statistics that we can through the contacts that we have, we update it all the time. And then that resource library, somebody would go to and be like, oh, they have a business plan. They have a template for a business plan. How great is that? And then that's just conversation that starts happening. All of a sudden, businesses are like, they're on the game. They know what's going on. Let's look at them towards
One of
our
the
things.
speakers that was here for the Turkey Bank, Troy, what's his last name?
Humphrey.
He even said in his presentation that a lot of these retail folks that he works with, that's what his company does, is he's a real estate firm that helps identify locations, builds locations, get companies put in them. If we have that data already on the website, we're going to get a second look as opposed to somebody who doesn't have it, because then those companies don't have to do the legwork that they need, to get the data that they need. So that'll be a big help also.
And I learned that when I started at the Department of Commerce. I was hired to create what we ended up calling the Site Ready program, and it was for a site to have all the information that you need, and it doesn't take 2 weeks for them to get it. Well, I'm just kind of follow that was successful, so why not have it where we have not just everything you need, but other people can go as a good resource tool. And thought that would just be a great promotion, just tool itself. Hey, look what we have here. And just working that direction. The only other two things that I have to bring up is after this meeting, I'm going to meet with Jody at the chamber to finish filling out the Main Street application. They'll be ready to have that submitted. And the one thing I did bring up earlier was the film friendly that will be taking place. So we'll be meeting with that. We need to, the first step of that is going out and taking pictures, updating whatever they have. If there are facilities that are acceptable, we do need, I think, more of a verbal, I prefer written permission. But like the university, for example, if it's fine to do filming on the university, then we can go take pictures. Now's a great time for the university because they don't want students there. They don't want to see cars in front of buildings. They want what it looks like, and they don't want just the pretty. They want the ugly too, because a lot of horror movies are made. So this is kind of what we're also working on this summer.
Will you remind us about when that time is, or send us an email of the meeting?
Yeah, I actually, we were going to start taking pictures last week, but unfortunately I got in a car accident that day, and that kind of seized that. So we're going to probably talk about that also, when to reschedule the picture taking. That's all I have with the executive director report.
Okay, any further questions of Jeremy about that, anything he talked about here? I have a question. Jeremy, I had down, for some reason I wrote July 22nd on that film friendly. Was that a specific date?
I think that's what they're
Okay.
looking towards.
All right.
I won't know. I know that in fact, let me see. Real quick, I want to look at my calendar. July. No, 20th.
20th.
Not 22nd,
Okay.
because that's a Saturday. So yeah, July 20th was what it was.
Okay, thank you. All right,
But it's not guaranteed yet.
gotcha. Just a
We're
soft date.
waiting to hear back from them.
No problem. Okay, update, discussion, possible action regarding terms for committee members. We got Randy McMurphy. We
I'm
hate
done.
to see, but you are terming out, and we hate to see you go, but it sounds like that's gonna happen whether we want it to or not. So, discussion about, as far as someone to replace Mr. McMurphy.
Randy, you're on the Industrial Development Authority also.
Right.
So which one of the commissioners will step into that when you step down? Or are you staying? on
It's
that?
not a commissioner.
Well, I thought there had to be a commissioner on it.
We're gonna change the bylaws. They're just, I don't know if it said that in there or here or whatever,
It
but
doesn't for us, but I thought there was something for that.
I think we're just gonna make it a resident of Woods County.
Okay.
So,
So
it
you're gonna
was
stay on
more,
that one?
huh?
You'll be staying on that one?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
That one does not, it's an every 5 years, but it does not have an expiration
Term limit.
term limit.
Good.
So this person, Jeremy, do you happen to know the date of our next meeting?
September.
I know, I'm catching you off guard on that. But that would be when we'd want to have that person in attendance to
Yes.
Yeah, for,
vote to
yeah, any, right.
accept him as a committee member. Does anybody?
I got a recommendation,
Okay.
and it kind of pertains to the commissioners also, but our secretary, Amy Grimsley, if there was something that needed to go back, or she could inform the commissioners what went on here, or whatever.
Okay.
I mean, it's just a thought, but.
Okay.
I also have a suggestion.
Okay.
Charlene Bixler has expressed some interest in being on the committee, and she's worked a great deal tourism for our community and tourism in Amarillo and so forth. Has a lot of contacts and resources and a good perspective of progress in the county. I think she would be a good person to have on the committee.
Okay. How do we want to handle these recommendations? Would you guys like to act on these at this point, or would you like to take recommendations and then act on them at the next meeting? And so give you some time to
We'll
think
think
about
about
that.
it,
Yeah, because, I mean, just send any recommendations you have to Jeremy.
Just so you know,
And then we can put together maybe like a slate to
List,
discuss.
okay.
that Randy's term does end in June.
Right.
So,
Like
just-
now.
Yeah,
Right.
so that's just, there will be a vacancy
But
there.
unless, yeah, right.
Right.
Unless we have a special meeting, there won't be any action
Right.
Until
taken.
the September.
Right, yeah, so we won't be.
I think that whomever they need to be, talked to. You don't want to ask somebody without them really understanding what their role is before we do anything.
Sounds like, you talked to Amy about this?
Yeah, I asked her.
Okay, and I'm sure you've talked to Charlene
Yes,
about this,
yes.
so, yeah, I would say, anybody send those?
Well, yeah, we might be able to think of others too. I mean,
That's what I mean, so, yeah, if you recommend somebody to Jeremy,
Okay.
discuss it with that person, I would say beforehand. Just say, look, would you be interested in that?
we can send people.
Yep,
to
I
it.
say
Okay.
send them to him and then we can act on that.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yep.
All right. New business, is there any new business?
I told Jeremy earlier, it's just informational, that I talked to Kenneth Corney, he sent me some great information about USDA and pushing out with President Biden's rural emphasis for the grants. So I've got a list that somebody jumped into my office and I left early and forgot about it, but I'm gonna get that to Jeremy because there's several different grant opportunities that could be good for communities and counties, so.
I got a question. On this broadband deal, does anybody know what
Well, there's another one for that specifically, so.
Panhandle, PTSI, they were just awarded, I want to say like 4-point-something million to ensure, basically every address had access. And then somewhere in southeast Oklahoma, same deal, but not that much money. And I may not have that figure right, but it's in the millions is what PTSI got. But I have yet to hear what's happening in Woods County.
We were just awarded a $799,000 broadband grant through ARPA for training. So to do all the training for technicians.
For the,
All
to the
all
tech
things,
center?
yep. Both,
Okay.
both campuses to be able to do all the training for all the equipment operation, the pole, all the different installations.
Whatever companies get that.
Right, so
So have you heard like what companies might be building it
we're
out?
that far into it, you know.
Okay.
No, that's something that, I mean, that'll be a big part of it. And it won't just be for new employees, it'll also be upskilling individuals, so.
Well, Charlene asked me about that.
Yep.
And about have you picked a site?
We're gonna have them both here. We're gonna set up some poles and what have you, and gravel and some training on both campuses. So it'll be out here by this, I don't know if you realize, no, we own this other building.
Yeah.
So they're gonna do it out there.
Okay.
And then as far as equipment, they were, I say sticklers, and I mean, and I did the grant, but they were doing rentals on a lot of our equipment. So depending on what equipment we need, we'll rent that. for
Well,
training.
she called and asked me about
Yep,
building a pad and that kind of stuff.
that's what it's about, I would.
Well, I knew that, but I mean, it's a definite, and she didn't tell me where.
Oh, okay, yep, it's definite now, we finally got the green light,
Okay.
maybe this week, so, we'll bring in, OSU Okmulgee, or OSU IT, I think they call it now, but they've got some trainers that are gonna come and do some specific broadband, but it'll be, I mean, everything from terminating cables to customer service to, I mean, this whole shebang, so somebody could be, you know, it's not just the installation, but that service afterwards, and so it would be a job that somebody, you know, in our area would be able to stay in our area and continue that employment, not just come in like a wind tower, put it up and leave, so.
Right.
Trying to keep our people.
Well,
Maintenance would be key.
That's exactly right.
Not broadband especially.
Yes.
back to my original, did Woods County get on that map of the places that's not served broadband?
Don't know. Because, was it Representative Phillips?
Well, it was, he's no longer in the legislature now.
Okay, so, I mean, they have a broadband, I don't know, is
Task
it
force,
an
basically.
agency, task force, whatever. But there's been so little information made available to the public on any of that.
Well, it was on the radio back there around the first of the year or something, that they were putting together a map that people that didn't have it, and that's what, I didn't know.
I was shocked when I saw that USDA award of that big money for PTSI. So they've been doing what they needed to do. I don't know that our providers have done that, but I don't know that they haven't.
Right.
I haven't heard either. But I know in some of these new grant proposals, there's still funding available for it, so I think we need to, and like I said, I apologize, I'll get that to you.
You know, broadband availability can have a big effect on, like sometimes might be put on our website to
Yeah.
encourage somebody to come.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
That's a big
Oh, yeah, it is.
infrastructure piece anymore.
Whether we believe it or not, it's a big deterrent.
Yep.
Well,
It's a
you know.
utility.
Yes.
I mean, really. They
Yeah,
love
it is.
It's the-
It's
how big a
exactly.
pipe
Five.
we have.
You know, one of the things regarding ABART and why the funding, they look at the big five, and that's water, sewage, that's electric, gas, and it's broadband, you know, fiber, is there fiber? And that's, you know, how they determine in recruitment business, so.
Well, we never heard anything back from, from one company that we brought in.
I know you're talking about, I can't think of the name.
I get it.
They just got out of the
I think
telephone
you'd say that,
business,
yeah.
but, for the cell phone business.
Oh, Pioneer?
Oh, Pioneer.
Yeah, and this total career tech, the state, the agency, the total grant was about 5 million for all the tech centers. Not all of them applied, but I know Chisholm Trail's gonna be doing a little bit of stuff too with Pioneer, so they might be more interested in coming up, doing some things. They might not, we'll see. CDL's a part of that too, so people get their CDL certificate.
They keep changing the laws on that.
They do. They just changed it on the school buses.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew that one, but you can no longer serve air brakes, you know, just because we teach it. You can no longer, it has to be a yellow school bus that you test on, that you train on with air brakes, or they won't let you certify. So like, we have, you know, one of those white ones, even if it has air brakes, it won't count.
Go paint it
They just
yellow.
changed that, I know.
It's gotta be yellow.
It's gotta be one of those yellow fences. 'Cause we're trying to,
But I'm gonna tell you,
I know, isn't that ignorant? Air brakes is air brakes. Adam's been doing it, cause I said, well, they're different on different, white and yellow, they got different air
Oh my
brakes.
gosh.
this living proves that the legislative session is too long.
Ooh.
Any other rules change on the CDL?
That's the only one I know of.
Wow.
It's pretty crazy that those school bus drivers don't have to have a medical card. School bus drivers and county drivers do not have to have a medical card. Yeah.
Okay, any other new business? Any announcements?
I was just gonna say, I am supposed to, depending on how it's going, go on my honeymoon June 30th to July 11th is when it is. But I will have my phone and bring my laptop despite the missus saying don't.
Why would you do that?
That's right.
There's
She already said yes.
plenty of places you can use a laptop, you know, mainly when she's asleep. But no, yeah, I'll be available. You'll be able to get a hold of me. But of course, I don't have a car right now. We were doing a whole road trip thing, visiting family and going to places. So we'll see how
Can
that
I
goes.
interest you in the CDL?
Only if it's a yellow.
Yeah.
Only if it's a yellow.
The yellow
Oh,
bus.
interested
Yeah.
in driving a yellow bus on your honeymoon?
Yeah,
We wouldn't have to do the Airbnbs then, you know.
That's
right.
Just,
You know, watch that van life show and
Yeah,
all
figure it
those
out.
schoolies, I guess they call those. Or they come
Living
around.
buses.
That's what, Big Slick.
Yes.
um,
Poetry in motion. Lance Harsman.
Hardsman, yeah,
Yeah.
he's got one, he's turning into, Lance has always got something, you know.
Yes,
He does have
that
that.
doesn't surprise me.
Yep, I think he's got about 1,000 beehives too, he bought.
He does.
That would be,
Yeah,
part of that deal is you've seen that they're actually converting some yellow school buses into portable beehives. Honestly, that they're taking to alfalfa fields
oh
and
yeah,
using them
to pollinate and then,
and because of the price of them is so much cheaper and the ability to move and become mobile.
that's a good idea.
So, I mean,
There's
The
some-
entire almond drops pollinate, I mean, that's every
That's how
almond you
they
eat
do
is
it.
made with,
Yeah.
and they'll pay you as much as a hive cost just to pollinate,
Wow.
$200 or $300.
Isn't there a guy in Enid that has like a big converted big
there's starting to
semi?
be some, there's several around Kingfisher.
Yeah.
And some of them are starting, but I didn't know about any, but there are.
Last I heard, he starts in South Texas and follows the harvest all the way to the Dakotas with the bloom time.
Those things are so tender.
And there's a real shortage of them, I read.
Yeah.
I mean,
The
they're
winter-
They
extremely,
are.
they're extremely tender because of any little sprain or malfunction
Yeah.
of temperature, and they're dead.
I think it loses about 30% of the colonies in the U.S. a year, at least,
Move.
just because, you know. I don't know, Lance knows that, and he knows how to make a school bus into a RV, so. Any other announcements? Might be more germane to this. Okay. Seeing none, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move adjourn.
Okay. Second?
Second.
Okay, motion and second. Jeremy?
Hannaford,
Yes.
McMurphy,
Yes.
Decker,
Yes.
Sleeper,
Yes.
Stats, Bradford,
Yes.
Ethan.
Yes.